the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Hey, check out my new tag team, baby, Monte the Pharaoh.
Hey, Jimmy, don't forget to tell them about Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Well, you know what, I would, but you already did it.
It's Monte the Pharaoh.
With Monte and Pharaoh.
The Monte and Pharaoh Show.
Monte Pharaoh, bro.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Monte and the Pharaoh.
The Monte and Pharaoh Show.
And you're watching the Monte and Pharaoh Show.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
With Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
It's Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and Pharaoh.
It's Monte and the Pharaoh.
And Monte and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monte and the Pharaoh?
Monte and Pharaoh.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
To the Monte and the Pharaoh Show. And it's Monte and the Pharaoh, baby.
Watching Monte and the Pharaoh.
With Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Oh, what a run. Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Hey, cut the fucking music. When you want the best in professional wrestling, Long Island, there's only one place you're going to get it, right here.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Now, that's not just the coolest, and that's not just the best. That, my friends, is just incredible. Monte and the Pharaoh.
You've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, and MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monte and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff, and we gonna rock it.
Straight to the top. We're living this life, not just dreaming it, we're doing it for real. Straight to the top. Working hard every day just to live out that way.
All right, welcome to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast at our new home, Indie Music TV, here out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island. I think after this week, we're not going to call it our new home, right?
No, it's home.
It's finally home.
Yeah,
right?
we're good. Yep.
Good.
We here.
I want to recognize the producer at the board, Matt. Matt, how you doing, my friend? Hope all is well.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, buddy.
To my right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm hanging in. What's going on, partner?
How was your weekend?
Yeah, fine. From what I can remember, I can't remember too much. Hitting the whiskey again. Sorry. It's supposed to keep us clean from COVID. Leave me alone.
How much whiskey do you
Don't.
down? I would like to know.
Started.
I want to know.
Do you really want to know?
I want.
All right.
I want.
Well, in
wines,
general, it's not horrendous because it's in control. It's not like I grab the keys and go for a ride or menace the neighborhood. Although I'd like to. I think I maxed out on 7 shots of Wild Turkey 101 about 2 weeks ago.
How many shots does it take you to get lit?
Wow, good question. Depends on the proofage. Some stuff is higher proof than others. I tend to go 100 and over proof, so I drink the real gasoline. I'd say 3 or 4, and it's like, hey, yo. Let me enter hey, yo territory.
So I drink wine, right?
Yeah.
And I only usually do it on the weekends. But
yeah.
It takes about a bottle to knock this fat out.
I believe that it would take you a bottle.
So would a bottle take you out?
Interesting. I haven't tried. I'll let you know.
Can you?
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll do the Scotty thing from Star Trek. I'll let you know.
I'll let you know, Scotty.
Yeah.
I want to thank the band that does the theme song for Monte and the Pharaoh, Aqua Cherry. The theme song is Straight to the Top. Also catch their other songs, Yes, Yes, Forever and Seasons. Aqua Cherry's music can be found on Spotify, iTunes, Reverb Nation, or where music is sold, and maybe Indie Music Television sooner or later.
Sure.
Also want to thank our other band, Wisteria Hall, lead singer none other than our star of the show, Jimmy Pharaoh, and his partner, Bart Griggs.
That's right.
Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, which is the closing song for Monte and the Pharaoh.
Correct. The Mundo.
Not Far Behind.
Correct. The Mundo.
And you can catch them on Spotify, iTunes, Reverb Nation, or where music is sold.
Yep.
Monte the Pharaoh could be seen on YouTube, where you're watching us right now, Facebook Live on the Monte the Pharaoh homepage, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, and RTF Sports Network. every Friday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. drive time, the anchor show of RTF Network.
Sweet.
Channel 115 every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9 p.m. and for the early risers on Saturday 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. Hey, Matt, you're going to be a star on television. Did you ever think?
Well, you are now.
Well, you are now.
Your name rolled down the credits on Cablevision this week, so it's too late to worry about it, kid. Strap in.
Unbelievable.
Nice.
I want to talk about some of our upcoming shows. Next week, we have WWE Hall of Famer Mr. Tony Atlas in studio.
Nice.
Tony first will be doing a virtual meet and greet. Since we're in these
age.
COVID times,
what's-
right?
how's that?
Where you can't meet the pro wrestler. Man,
So, like,
mano
we
a
putting him
mano.
up in, like, a pod and, like, floating him into orbit
He's
going to
be on the computer. Tony will answer the fans' questions
Oh.
and sign autographs. And you can go to our partner,
wow.
ESS Promotions.
Ah, very
and,
good. No BS.
No BSS with
With
ESS.
No BSS. Now you sound like me. No BS with ESS.
And then
That's right.
then Tony will be in studio at 9 p.m. next week on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. And on June 4th, we have none other than the WWE's own Johnny Photo in studio.
Photo.
Johnny is.
I feel like I know Johnny Photo.
You think you might?
I think I might.
Johnny
Photo rocks.
Is in charge of photography for the WWE. I'm sure he'll be able to tell some good stories,
That's,
right?
That's amazing.
That's
going to be
you,
great.
I, and Johnny go back a long way,
you
right?
Think? Oh my God! Holy Verley Park.
Holy
I had
Verley
to.
Park.
Unbelievable. Oh boy.
Jimmy and I would like to take a moment to show the respect for the people who have lost their lives and the people who are on the front lines during the time. Oh, hat off. Good job.
Watch this.
All right. We're back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Jimmy, we're going to have like a kind of a tribute type of show today,
Kind
I
of.
guess, considering.
Kind of. Okay. This means
uh,
unfortunate things have either happened recently or in the past around this time of year. Ugh, what do you got?
It's amazing.
Oy.
It's amazing all the sad news that hits, forget about everything that's going on in
Does
wrestling.
this profession ever get a break? I wonder about that. There's always something bad happening. Like just a few days ago. Why don't you fill us in, Mike?
Pro wrestler Shad Gaspard body was found, I believe, yesterday. Everybody knows the story. He went out swimming with his son, got hit by some massive riptides, and
This is after they just lifted the COVID, whatever restrictions.
Correct. And lifeguards came out. From what I understand, Mr. Gaspard pointed to the lifeguards to take his son in, and then he got hit with a pretty major wave, and he disappeared.
Right.
And unfortunately, I know we were holding on for hope. Maybe there was some sort of a miracle, but unfortunately,
The body washed up yesterday.
he lost his life. So, Jimmy, I'm going to ask you not a strange question, but
Coming from you, it's never strange. What do you got?
many people talk about what a hero he is, right?
Sure.
Would you call him a hero or a father?
I'd call him both. I think he has enough of a track record. I don't recall him ever getting in much trouble. I could be wrong, but from what I've read in the past, I don't recall him being in trouble. The two things that he publicly seems to be remembered for are both heroic acts. He stopped a robbery, didn't he? Didn't he take a gun out of someone's hand and prohibit a robbery from happening?
In 2016, he stopped a potential robber in Florida at a convenience store. Yep, you are correct.
And I'm not sure if I can, because the accounts are all very fresh and new, and I've read different articles, but I heard he actually pushed his son physically forward to get him closer to the rescuers and yelled, "Save my son." Come on. Great father, obviously, put his child first, and definitely a hero. Definitely a hero,
It's
what was he, 39?
39 years
come
old.
on,
And
really?
great shape.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
funny how God's can
I don't know. I don't
you
know.
can't take on Mother Nature. It's
No.
and I'm not saying he was taking on Mother Nature. What I'm trying to say, a guy that size and
Right.
the water and the waves.
Right.
And,
I got to admit, what was he, 150 feet out, did they say, or something like that? Have you ever gone
heard,
that far out?
Honestly, I heard, again, I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I heard he
Okay.
wasn't that far out. I heard it was maybe 8 feet of water.
Well, it could be that, but if he's 150 feet out from what I read, that's pretty far.
You're not much of a beach guy, right?
No, but I used to be a good swimmer until I started developing ear problems, so I just don't.
Did you ever swim in the ocean?
Sure.
Did you ever get ripped, like taken out?
You know what's hilarious?
Like undertow?
If I can tell you, one time I went to the Caribbean and they were doing a scuba excursion. I was in my 20s at the time. Thank God I didn't try this nowadays.
Right.
But you literally had to be treading water. They gave you nothing to hold on to. You're doing a scuba. I think I had to stay like above water and active without sinking from exhaustion for like an hour almost.
Right.
And I thought about like halfway through, man, I can't even take this. And we were out pretty deep in the Caribbean Ocean. It was pretty interesting.
I remember one time when I was younger, I was at the beach, and you get kind of yanked out. You don't realize you're getting yanked out so far, and then before you know it, you're in a little bit of danger land. And if you're not a super swimmer, it's and from what I understand, in this particular situation, the waves were awfully rough.
Right.
And it's funny you mentioned about the whole COVID thing. They had just opened the beach.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder if the beaches were open, if they would have even went out that day, with that kind of...
No.
Because people are so
he wouldn't have gone.
Crazy to get out, right?
He went
And
because
spend
they
time with
lifted
their
the
family.
curfew.
Yeah.
I mean, is it their fault for lifting the curfew? Really, we're going to start doing that?
No.
You know what I mean? This was just a horrible, horrible thing that happened, to a good human being from what it completely seems like, so...
Did you hear rumors that the WWE were going to try to bring back Crime Time?
No. I had never heard that.
So false rumor, you think?
I have no idea. It all
fight
depends on where it came from.
To wrestle the Street Profits.
Interesting. That would have been interesting.
Again, I don't know how true it is, but it's just a terrible situation.
Yep.
With that, I'd like to take a commercial break. Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Dark Side of the Ring, Jimmy.
Yep, here we go again.
I
understand that you caught the Owen Hart one.
The Owen Hart.
So how slanted was the angle this time?
So let's talk. Hart died in May 23rd, 1999, due to injuries suffered following an equipment malfunction at the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, at the Over the Edge pay-per-view. Dark Side of the Ring. So, my evaluation.
Shoot.
Wife loses her husband.
Right.
Kids lose their father.
Sure.
Lots of anger.
Logical.
Makes lots of sense.
Okay.
I felt it was tremendously slanted, and it almost annoyed me to a point.
Okay. What was it about it that bothered you?
I feel that, yes, terrible situation. Is the WWE responsible? Absolutely.
Sure.
Right? Absolutely.
Sure.
Also, look, Martha Hart claimed that the WWE used the wrong hook or the wrong equipment.
Okay.
Right? And it was a quick release hook because they wanted to make it more impressive. So when he came down to the ring, he could unhook himself. But, if you look at what went on or what the court case shows is that, the makers of the hook actually paid the WWE $9 million. So of the $18 million that they paid Martha Hart, which says to you that there was a problem with that hook.
There had to be,
right?
There had to be.
So I guess my question to you, Pharaoh, is this: Martha Hart gets $18 million from the WWE.
Yeah.
She takes the money.
Sure.
Right? Settles out of court, takes the money. does she have a right to be mad at, not mad at Vince McMahon, but does she have a right to blame him for the death of her husband to the point that she's at, right? We've got to remember something. The Hart family themselves, right, actually were trying to convince her not to sue the WWE.
Right.
Right. Obviously, they had a working relationship with the WWE. They felt there was going to be an uncomfortable situation.
Right.
Thoughts?
I find it very interesting how other family members who are wrestlers and know that their business could be affected in the future with Vince McMahon after this horrible tragedy are like, yo, Martha, there's a much bigger, more complicated picture going on here. Cool out.
Right.
We totally get it. I can imagine all the tears that have been flowing in that family over the years, whether it's Brett, whether it's another brother of Owens, whether it's Martha. You know, I'm sure that they've dissected this with arguing behind the scenes with the family for years. I just feel at this point, I wish Martha would remember Owens' legacy was he was a wrestler. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
So they put
him in the Hall of Fame.
They portray this as really Owen didn't want to be a wrestler.
What?
Yeah.
What?
He
How?
wanted to be a regular guy.
How could you portray that he didn't want to be a wrestler? See, now I regret not catching it yet.
Well,
he
he does say it. He says it in some of the videos how
What,
he'd
that he
like to
didn't
maybe
want to be a wrestler?
Nah, just say like he wanted to become a normal person and be a fireman or be whatever, and which is fine. I get it. He didn't like to travel, right?
Right.
Got young kids. He's traveling 200-something
How
days
many
a
years
year.
was he a wrestler? He was on the road for years and years and years. If you don't like it that much, then step back and become a fireman. I'm confused. That confuses me. He's a Hart. There's something else he wanted to do. They all wrestle. That's what they do.
Here's another.
And they were great at it. Owen was amazing.
But here's another thing, right?
Okay.
Brett, the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah.
Right? He leaves. We all
Right.
know what went on with the Montreal Screwjob.
Okay.
Owen, right? The WWE offers him a pretty lucrative contract to stay.
Right.
And he stays. And he
That's right.
signs on.
Right. Owen wanted to be a wrestler. This was Owen's life. I feel like, and you know what else gets me a little confused? I could have sworn the stories that really happened is when the tragedy happened, Vince talked to every wrestler in the locker room, fresh off what had just happened, and said, does anybody here feel like they can't continue on tonight? Does anybody want to not do this right now? And not a single person said no. So I'm really not sure.
JR during this Dark Side of the Ring makes a statement that he felt like the show should not have gone on.
Should not have.
Right.
Did Jim say anything? Did JR say anything at the moment? Did he speak up? Because that's not documented anywhere, and if it is, I haven't read it. My apologies.
Well, again, I thought it was really skewed towards like Vince McMahon's the devil,
right?
And Vince McMahon did this and did that. They push in the deal that he wanted to move the court case to Connecticut.
Right.
Right? So almost like, he wanted to get out of Missouri because he wanted to go to Connecticut because that's his hometown and he's big time in Connecticut and he'll win that court case. No. He wanted the WWE.
He did that to get at the equipment company.
That's correct.
That's
Exactly.
what he did,
exactly
to get the
right.
leverage from the equipment company. Because you know what makes me really crazy? Does anybody really, really think? Because I don't think this. And if I'm wrong, whatever, because it is all speculation.
Sure, go ahead.
If anybody thinks that Vince McMahon did not shed private tears over Owen Hart's tragic death, I'm sorry. I think they're wrong. I think that this destroyed Vince on the inside. I think that it hurt him bad.
I don't know what Vince. I don't know.
But when you just portray Vince as this monster,
Right.
and by the way, to Vince's defense, Vince never talks. Vince doesn't have to talk. Good for you, Vince. Let people talk shit about you. You don't have to answer this crap, okay? But it always comes across as, he's a piece of crap. He's this, he's that. Do you really think he did not have a private breakdown over the death of one of his wrestlers who he clearly loved over the years and pushed? He loves the family. He's got sure, there were problems, but man, he had a deep relationship with those people. He's got no feelings. He never had remorse over it. What the hell, man? He's a human being. And when he passes on, most of these people who've been throwing crap on him are probably still going to throw crap on him. He's a person. He's also the finest wrestling promoter mind that ever came across. He's Ringling Brothers. He's everything that made the business big time. Hate him all you want.
You
You
know,
know.
think about-
I mean, to me, I would ask Martha to please. I know you're going to hate him forever, and you should. It's fine.
Right.
How dare I try to remove your personal feelings towards your husband's death?
Right.
Never, never. But let Owen be remembered now, because all he's being remembered for in many ways by a lot of people, not all, wrestling purists know who he was in the ring and love him for it to this day. But all he's being talked about is his fall. And Vince and Martha and the family. What about the fact that he was a great, great wrestler? Restore his
Martha also says in a
wrestling
documentary
dignity.
that the WWE Hall of Fame is not a real Hall of Fame.
Okay, fine.
It's just a money grab.
Where's the building? Totally get it. Can't stand the fact that there's no building. Totally get it. Money grab? Really? I mean, sure, fine. But does that mean that these wrestlers shouldn't be honored?
Well, that's
over the
point.
years.
If you
Andre
really-
the Giant shouldn't
you
be
should-
honored.
you should
Pedro Morales shouldn't be
allow the
honored.
fans-
Owen Hart should be honored.
How about closure?
Do it.
How about closure?
How about?
Allow the fans have some closure with Owen
Boy,
Hart.
yeah, please. I guess that's what I'm pleading for. Let's get back to the fact that he was a great wrestler and try to remember him more so for that than May 23rd, 1999, where that fan stood behind JR as JR was trying to break the news, and he's pointing at the ceiling, and I'm watching live, and I'm going, what just happened? You know, what just happened?
All right, so I'm going to make a statement here,
Oy.
and correct me if I'm wrong.
All right.
So in the documentary, everybody talks about what a great wrestler Owen was. He was, you know, this thoroughbred and
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
Owen Hart doesn't die on that date, finishes out his career.
Mm-hmm.
Is he still remembered as being this great wrestler?
You know what death does.
I'm not asking you that. No, I'm asking you.
No, do I
go in
think
a
he would have
time
been
machine.
remembered on a level that he's being remembered? Probably not.
Thank
to
you.
be very honest.
I got to be
You're
honest
asking
with
me
you.
to be
Thank
honest.
you.
I'm being honest about it.
Thank
Probably
you.
not. You know, is he
Owen
gonna be
Hart did
remembered
not
as-
drag me to the
But
arena.
thank God for Owen, though, that he wasn't booked during the days that we see today, because Owen would probably wind up being like poor Dolph Ziggler. Here's a guy who can totally wrestle, but hey, gray area, gray area, gray area, gray area. I can't. I
Look,
mean,
I'm not not tearing Owen apart. But I'm going to ask you. Do you have good mic skills?
I thought he was
It was
pretty
okay.
funny. No, I thought he was fine.
It was okay.
I thought he was fine. Didn't think he was bad.
No.
Didn't go look at the stumbling, mumbling dude that they put a microphone in front of. No, I thought he was fine.
I thought Owen Hart was an okay
Super
wrestler.
solid. You know I liked Owen more than Brett. You know that.
Which
I'm
is
one
crazy.
of these weirdos.
Which is
Yeah,
crazy.
one of these weirdos. Brett is clearly like the full package for the most part. I don't think Brett was that great on the mic either sometimes. How's that feel? You know, I've said that before.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I mean, come on, look, compared to Ric Flair. I mean, if you want to start, talking about guys who never did, like Macho Man the other day, I'm watching him. Cup of coffee, Tito Santana. You're just a cup of coffee. Yeah.
We'll get back.
That's unbelievable.
We'll get back to Macho Man. Look, I want to bring back one of my favorite parts of the show, which you hate.
Why are you doing
right?
this? Why?
It's called the most annoying pro wrestling expert because
God's
there's so
sakes.
many of them out there.
Oh, stop me now. Oh,
so
God.
let's hit the clip.
Wait a minute. I hear them. I can't anymore. Yeah.
You've
Thanks,
seen
Mike.
Oj.
Go ahead. Tell us all
And
about
now
it.
are you ready to apologize?
Your favorite clip.
WWE marks who've said every
All right.
year for how many years
Thanks for
that Owen
leading me
Hart
into that,
should be
Pharaoh.
WWE Hall of Fame.
So
and you've blamed Martha Hart.
You this
wrestling,
week,
wrestling.
because you
fan,
know I just don't care.
Wrestling
for
fan
not
says,
allowing her
"Hey, the
dead
wrestling
husband's
expert,
name
Okay.
on the
right?
Hall of Fame,
Mike
and Mark
Messier,
Henry.
Mike?
one of our favorite wrestling
I like
experts.
Mike Messier. What's going on now?
He's like, "Hey, you WWE marks, now you know the truth, right? What's behind Owen Hart?
okay.
Thoughts?"
I would expect Mike to take that. But Mike, look, let's be fair to Mike, as Mike was fair with us when he was on the show with us.
Right.
Mike looks at things a certain way, and I'm not surprised that he felt that way about it. It doesn't surprise me. You know he hates Vince's guts. How can you expect him to take that? Dude, I would
Isn't
be
this
shocked.
like fake news, though?
No.
Like, I got to tell you something. Dark Side of the Ring
Go on.
tells one side of the story that they want to tell.
Fine.
I mean,
That's what they're
let
doing.
me ask you something.
I bet you Mike knows that, too.
Wait a minute. Martha
Right, Mike?
Hart,
I
Martha
bet you he
Hart
knows
takes
that.
$18 million.
Yeah,
Takes $18 million.
true, fine.
Don't you think that deserves to be looked into a little more?
In what way, though?
Hey,
I
look,
mean,
if it was about the redemption of your husband,
I'm sure
you're
part of
telling me
factored
that
in.
money is the. You're telling me everybody's got.
Well,
a
what
price.
you wanted to do? Take nothing? I tell you what, just redeem my husband.
Well,
and
wait
say
a
it was
minute.
your
Wait
fault.
a minute. Wait a minute. on the documentary,
Okay.
She said that Vince McMahon offered to pay for the funeral.
Right.
Right?
Okay. All right.
But she wanted nothing to do with him.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
She wants none of his dirty money, right?
But she'll
Because
take
he's
the
a
18
devil.
million.
But she took the 18 mil.
Did she clean it when she received it?
I have no idea.
Very interesting.
I just have a problem with that whole thing.
Very interesting.
I understand why she took the 18
I bet
million.
you. I bet it's a good thing she got it then. You can't go now. All the laundromats are closed. Can't wash the money.
Here's the fact of the matter.
What? Your laundromat's open in your town, boy? You got it made. Go on.
The problem I got with this, will you stop it already? Oh my
God, she's
God.
like laundromat.
Oh
Everything's
my God.
closed. Wake up. Go on. So what's the problem? She
look,
took the 18 million.
took the
She
18
washed
million.
it clean.
And how about
threw it
this?
in the dryer.
How about this? Let's add this onto it that people don't know about because people don't do their homework.
Go ahead.
Okay?
Go ahead.
All right?
I know you do.
Hart sued Lumar. That's the makers of the clip.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But guess what?
What?
When she found out that the WWE was going to sue Lumar,
Yeah.
she dropped her case against Lumar and went totally after the WWE.
Why?
And she had some kind of agreement with Lumar.
With Lumar.
Yeah.
Oh, they were going to double team and gangbang.
And by the
Vince?
way, for people that
that doesn't work.
want to know, this is stuff you could look up. You could
Right.
read it. That's all I did, right?
Right.
I didn't want to get too deep into it, okay?
Right. You know what the worst part is? Is what if Owen actually accidentally did detach the cable? I always wonder about that. There was nobody there filming the whole thing. It was. Oh, what if that did happen? Oy.
I know
You know?
they did say they ran a test run through it.
Man, oh man.
And it worked.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Look, I don't want to put blame on Owen Hart, man. And I don't want to put
No,
blame on
I
Martha
don't
Hart.
know,
And I don't
you
want
know?
to put blame on his children.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But again, to blame the WWE and Vince McMahon solely for what
Right.
went on here. They didn't force Owen Hart
Hey, if
to
God-
go to the top of that arena
Right.
and come down.
And if God forbid anything had happened to Sting in WCW,
Uh-huh.
was Ted Turner the steaming pile of piece of shit, and it's all his fault? It's Sting, God forbid something happened to Sting.
So in the documentary,
dropped down Michaels
in
from
the
the rafters
documentary, Pharaoh, they talk about how he trusted everything to be okay. He felt safe.
Right.
Right. But they also, some things that people missed is that they wanted him to do an angle with Deborah McMichael that he was fooling around with her, and he refused because he didn't believe in that type of stuff.
Okay.
So you didn't have to wear the blue blazer outfit.
Right.
You didn't have to climb to the top of the arena.
I hated the
You
blue-
didn't have to do all that stuff.
Right.
But you did. So at some point, I understand. Does Owen Hart have responsibility for his own death?
Ooh, boy, that's a tough call. I mean, if it was faulty, listen. What gets forgotten about is how many times did he swing down from the rafters as the Blue Blazer? Probably more than once. So he was already used to it. He had done it several, who knows how many times he did it. I can't. Again, like I just said, we don't know if he accidentally dishooked the apparatus.
You get in a plane.
I don't know.
You get in a plane.
I can't.
You're going to jump out of a plane.
Yeah.
You have the chute on, and
Listen,
the chute malfunctions. Are you somewhat responsible for that happening?
Dude, I got to admit, to me, it's, you know what? If you really want to keep it simple, remember when our friends used to go bungee jumping?
Sure.
Dude, you never would see me with a damn bungee cord around my ankle because I always felt like, oh, yeah, sure, it's fun. Oh, it must be a rush when you bounce down and you come back up after falling a couple of 100 feet. You know what? All it takes is that one time. And that's why you never saw me with those damn things on my ankle, dropping myself from a bridge in Hoboken.
So we can agree that this was tragic.
Yes.
We can agree that Martha Hart and her family have a right to hate Vince McMahon because she's angry.
Absolutely.
She had a right to take the $18 million.
Absolutely.
Okay? But my feeling is she doesn't have the right not to allow the fans to celebrate Owen Hart.
I agree with that.
Okay? And I think she doesn't have the right to solely blame Vince McMahon and the WWE for what happened to Owen Hart.
The company, the apparatus company, has to take heat for that. And by the way, Bret Hart has already gone pretty much on record asking Martha to stop and let Owen be honored. So we're not saying anything that outlandish that would really, get the indie people to light their turnbuckles on fire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we've kept it
All
pretty
I'm saying
real
is,
here.
stop skewing things one way.
Right.
Mike Messier, I appreciate your comments, pal.
Yeah.
But stop skewing it one way.
Right.
Okay,
Well-
because it's wrong. No, it's wrong.
Well, I knew Mike would do that, though, because this is how Mike feels about it. Listen, again, at the end of the day, it's all speculation. We have as much of a right to our opinion
Sure.
as he does his. The end. You know what I mean? But it makes for great talk, though.
It does.
It sure does.
With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Be right back.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Well, it just keeps getting worse, Pharaoh.
Does it?
On the morning of May 20th, 2011,
this is bad.
Randy Savage died at the age of 58 after suffering a sudden heart attack while driving his wife in Florida. He became unresponsive and lost control of his Jeep Wrangler, crashing into a tree. This was literally one day anniversary yesterday of his death.
Right.
Not 1 year, it was just a day off the anniversary.
Right.
Thoughts on the Macho Man, Mr. Pharaoh?
Mr. Macho Man. Well, as you know, the other day. It's just by coincidence, too, because I got to be honest, I wasn't aware we were approaching it. You know, I don't have a calendar of wrestlers' birthdays and demises.
Do you remember the day he died?
Yeah, I do. But just the other day, I was, Wisteria Hall was getting ready to do a little composing, and I hit the whiskey, as you mentioned. Metallica has an excellent whiskey, folks, called Blackened. Buy it! But Blackened. It's excellent.
Really?
They did a great job. Yeah, they
I might
brought
have
it.
to try that.
They brought in a master distiller with legendary status and let it age, and it's fantastic.
Sure.
But anyway, a few shots in, we're watching some wrestling because we always do. Bart, by the way, is now entering over 6 years as a wrestling fan.
Wow! Congratulations, Bart.
That happened fast because we were doing the math.
You joined the list of long losers in professional wrestling. Congratulations,
what does that
Bart.
make us?
You are now a
Oh my
loser.
God! Woohoo! But we I don't know. I guess we just started watching some Macho Man clips and interviews and highlights from his career, like with the coffee cup and the cups of cream that he was putting into Gene Okerlund's pocket. The cream always rises. Yeah, it was just hilarious. But then, of course, they showed him, Elizabeth, will you marry me? And the Pharaoh turns into a big fag. Oh, I was like,
You were crying? Oh, my God.
A couple of shots, you start getting all emotional. And then Bart said the greatest thing. He's like, man, wrestling used to truly be great, huh? Here's a guy who's only been watching 6 years, but all he needs to do is see a clip of Randy Macho Man Savage doing his thing, whether it's a promo, whether it's his athleticism, whether it's his storytelling in the ring, his charisma, his immeasurable energy. He knew just by seeing a clip from 80-something. Boy, wrestling used to be truly great, huh?
My memories of
Macho Man.
My memories of Macho Man. Two of my favorite memories was WrestleMania 2, which I was at the Coliseum against George Steele.
Right.
But that was kind of your first. He was the Intercontinental Champion at that point, and he was coming into his own. But that was my first taste of the real Macho Man. But still to this day, what gives me chills: WrestleMania 5.
Oh.
I Hate You Hulk Hogan interview.
Oh, my God. Best
The
ever.
emotion that's behind that.
Yeah.
The pain and the anger. And it's kind of funny. It's almost like it's almost Karate Kid-ish, right? So, when you look at Karate Kid, right, Ralph Macchio, I don't know if you've ever seen the videos, right? He gets beat up. You've seen the Karate Kid,
I've seen
right?
the film,
But if you
sure.
look at it, right, Ralph Macchio's character in Karate Kid, think about what he did. He stole the dude's girlfriend. He comes into town. He makes the soccer team. All these things. He goes in and he pours them all full of water while they're trying to smoke weed. Right? Ralph Macchio did a lot of bad things that deserved to get his ass kicked.
To Macho Man's character, Hulk Hogan was the perfect kid. Everyone loved Hulk Hogan.
Well, not just that.
I hate you,
He had
Hulk
his hands
Hogan.
on his woman,
right,
on her buttocks.
This is
carried her.
Did
on
he
the
really? Was
shoulder.
Well, I remember the shoulder.
Do you remember?
carrying.
Do you remember the
He
slow,
did not like the shoulder carrying.
Do you remember the
slow
slow
burn
build?
Oh my God! It was the
my
greatest build
God.
ever. It took months, and you salivated every week, wondering when it was going to get to that final moment of. Didn't he attack him in the dressing room?
Did you think we've had Lanny Poffo in studio a couple of times? Lanny's a great guy. Did you think about Lanny during this time?
course I thought about Lanny. I thought about Lanny the other day when I was being a wuss watching him ask Macho ask Elizabeth to marry him. I thought about Lanny.
What'd you think about?
I think Lanny's gone through a lot of shit. That's what I think. I also find it interesting that, and he didn't say this on the interviews, but he said it in passing because we've spent some time with Lanny.
Right.
Thought it was interesting that the first time that Macho developed a voice in front of Lanny, as he encouraged him using Pampero Firpo as the launching pad to give him a style to do on the mic. I thought it was really cool that Lanny mentioned that was the last time he ever heard his brother's regular voice, because the second he figured out how to talk like Macho Man, he stayed in that voice the rest of his life. This is a guy who lived his angle.
He lived the gimmick.
He lived the gimmick. And I think that's why we both like MJF, by the way.
Absolutely.
Because he lives the gimmick, you know.
So I will say this, what I learned from Lanny, mostly, in the interviews we had with him, is Randy's love for his family.
Yeah.
His love for his dog,
Yeah.
Hercules, right? Remember he told the story about Hercules and where he wanted Hercules' ashes to be buried. But how about his father? Like,
massive
the
respect.
anger he had when Angelo Poffo, Pat Patterson wouldn't allow Angelo Poffo into that battle royal at the Meadowlands.
Right.
Right?
Which I've really, quite honestly, never understood why they didn't let him. There was obviously personal bullshit going on there. He had every right to be pissed.
Well,
you know, that's what I got.
But anyway, you know, Randy Macho Man Savage is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, one of the greatest personalities. And to be honest with you, all the things that he did for, he talked about George Steinbrenner, what he did for all those kids.
Every Christmas.
That's a guy who left this earth too soon.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Could you imagine if we would have had Randy Savage in studio with us?
Yeah, I can.
Do you think he would have liked us?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. Because he realizes is that, you know, Randy was a straight shooter. At least that's what I gathered. He didn't take any shit. And he would probably be able to tell we don't take any either. And, you know, I think he would have enjoyed our approach to things because it's not too sugar-coated. Randy wasn't very sugar-coated in my mind at all, you know.
Oh.
Hey, here's a weird question real quick before we finish on Savage. Do you think his WCW career was a bust?
Yes.
Interesting. Tell me why.
Well, first I will tell you, I was a huge fan of Randy Savage's for a very long time, even through the military. Big fan of his.
Sure.
Again, you live your gimmick. So when Randy broke off and became like cowboy, like Macho King, great gimmick.
I loved it.
Right?
Sherry.
Cowboy hat, Savage.
Not
Not
a fan,
so
huh?
good.
Not a fan, huh?
WCW Savage, not so good. I will tell you, when he returned back with Gorgeous George, all jacked up on the juice with his little ponytail,
Okay.
became a fan. Became a fan of his.
Yeah, well, I think Gorgeous George helped you along the way, though.
No, that would make a difference.
You know?
But do you think he was a failure in WCW?
Well, you know me, the nerdy guy with the back of the baseball card thing. I think he won 5 WCW World Championships, I think. So as far as the back of the baseball card, okay, he went where he was supposed to go. And I'm okay with that. And that made sense from a booking sense. He's got to be champion multiple times if you're going to bring him in. He still had enough left in the tank. I think Vince was wrong to make him want to just retire. Don't you think that was wrong? He had plenty left to wrestle. Like, let's say Vince had continued pushing him over the years or something. I guess there was no way, right? With the attitude ever coming? He was just moving out the old guys and bringing in the newer guys. Yeah, I guess not. You know what I did like from him? I remember one episode very clearly where Randy sat in the middle of that ring with a chair and took the show over and held it hostage. I want to talk to Bischoff. I'm not leaving. He like literally sat there and like people would try to come in. He was.
But that was later. That was later, Randy, right? That was
I
later.
Can't remember
Randy,
exactly when that was. Right, this nerdy second. But I remember that being an awesome segment.
Look, Savage is
great.
Incredible.
He's brilliant.
I just,
brilliant.
The
brilliant.
The WCW part of it, I didn't think was as good as not nearly as good as the WWE
right.
part.
I mean,
of
we
it,
clearly know that guys like Mr. Perfect's WCW career didn't come close to his WWE career.
No, not at all.
Know? But Macho, I thought he did okay in WCW. I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be.
I don't think it was bad. I just think it was. Listen,
Not
let me
as
tell you
good.
this. I'm wrong to say this.
What?
By him going over there, he made them real. He got them in the game.
He helped get them in the game for sure.
So
Absolutely.
for me to say that I'm probably wrong, is what I'm trying to say to you. He made a difference, right?
Right, but you're not wrong if your personal opinion is that his run in WCW paled in comparison to his run with the great, run he had with Vince.
Well, look, again, I think we've had some wrestlers that have come on and said, hey, look, Hillbilly Jim said it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Macho Man was Macho Man.
Right.
But Elizabeth made Macho Man also.
Boy, does he treat her like poo.
And
in those interviews the other day when I'm sitting there, he was crapping all over
So think
Elizabeth.
about this.
You've served your time, go to the back.
When Elizabeth moves on.
Oh, my God, he's killing her.
When Elizabeth moved on, so did Macho Man. They were a team. They were
Right.
together. Hey, Dark Side of the Ring, episode 1.
Right.
The Elizabeth Macho Man story.
Right.
They're two of the same.
Yeah.
I'm not, we've discussed this before too. I don't think Savage would have been as great as he was without her.
Oh, he definitely, bacon and eggs. Hard to disagree. She helped catapult him.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that either, by the way.
Ignorant to think anything less.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong
right?
with it. Oh, she was fantastic.
All right, with that, we're going to take a commercial break. Good flow, man. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen here every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. All right, bro, we're going to lighten it up a little bit.
Oh, we're going to lighten it up?
All right.
All right. That should be fun.
WWE Network.
Yeah.
Undertaker, Last Ride.
Hey, I finally saw part 1 today. Yay. Some nerd I am. I finally saw part 1 today. I thought it was fantastic.
This is why all these fake filmmakers must understand why they are not in the big time.
Wow.
There's the difference between WWE production and the shit that you see on these whiny indie film bullshit that everybody throws out there.
Right.
I mean, look, you watched episode 1.
Yes.
Give me your feedback.
Top shelf. Everything about it. Whether it's the music, whether it's the way it's edited.
Let's start there.
And I know
We're gonna get
about editing.
Let's give some Monte
yeah.
and the Pharaoh advice to these indie documentary makers.
Hmm.
Number 1, you heard Pharaoh. Music.
Oh yeah.
Have the right music.
Yep.
Have emotional music.
Yep.
Bringing you up and down,
Yep.
right?
The music should always pull you in different directions depending on the scene. It depends on the scene. The music can make or break a scene. If you've got the same monotone music going the whole way through a film, it's going to be really hard to pull the emotion out of the viewer watching either in the theater or at home. The music was fantastic for Taker. The editing was fantastic. But the most important thing is The Undertaker's massive, massive respect for the guy everybody loves to hate was amazing. Undertaker absolutely loves Vince McMahon. So go ahead, you marks. Go shit on him now.
So
have fun.
That's a great point, Pharaoh.
Have fun.
So all these Vince McMahon haters,
he adores his
how
boss.
come we're not getting any videos from Mike Messier about what Undertaker?
I don't know.
Right? How
You'd
come?
have to ask Mike.
Or any listen, I'm not picking on Mike. What I'm trying to say is,
that's fine.
you know why they don't do it?
I'm just trying to be
because they're smart.
Yeah.
Because they know if they attack Undertaker,
right. Listen,
people are going to shit all over him, right?
No matter what your agenda is, whether it's our side, whether it's another side, whatever, you got to make sure that you've got something to back it. Are you going to pick something like, if you hate Vince McMahon, are you going to pick Undertaker's love for him? Well, no, of course not, because like you just said, you're going to look pretty silly.
Well, let's
let's
take some key points about the Undertaker.
You know?
One,
yeah,
named his kid after Vince McMahon.
Right.
Named his kid after Vince McMahon.
That's love.
Right?
That's respect.
Number 2 said he would, his wife
right.
said
she came across awesome, by the way.
She did, by the
way.
way.
Boy, oh boy, did she come across awesome on this.
That Mark, quote, would take a bullet for Vince McMahon. Now, think about what they went through. The Montreal screw job.
Mm-hmm.
The Owen Hart death.
Right.
Right?
So many things.
So many things.
So many different things.
The Monday Night Wars.
Taker stayed loyal.
Right?
He stayed loyal. He stayed loyal.
So if Vince was really a dirtbag.
Right.
Right?
I don't see Taker throwing his morals away for a bad man, if that's what you're getting at.
And look, he could have went to WCW, right?
You know what I love? My favorite scene in part 1, which I caught today. My favorite scene when he fought Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And it was weird. When they were showing him fighting Roman Reigns, they showed the part where Roman tried to reverse the tombstone and give a tombstone to Undertaker himself, but Undertaker wasn't in the shape, forcing Roman to attempt to deadlift him, which he couldn't. And I was going to myself, why are they showing him messing up? That's weird. But the beauty of it was they explained that, because you got to have patience sometime as a viewer, you know? So the next thing they do is they show Taker after the match. And what I loved about this documentary, you can see the pressure on Taker's face as a performer, as a human being, before the match. You can see it in his eyes. He's so intense. He so wants to do well, as he said, for his company, for his boss, for himself, his family.
How about the fans?
He's got these things.
How about the fans?
He's got all of this going on in his mind. One wrong step, they're all watching. This is so important. My legacy, blah, blah, blah. What I loved were two things after the match where he struggled, and they showed him struggling. After the match, he comes back to that dressing room. He looks deliriously, two things, happy and relieved that he can now relax. He's done his job. He's performed. Vince McMahon comes into his dressing room, and all Taker wants to know is, are you happy? And Vince says, yes, I am. And Taker hugs him and says, that's all that matters. And people wonder why Undertaker is considered the Derek Jeter of his locker room, or the Thurman Munson. People wonder why he's so loyal to Vince and Vince so loyal to him. Vince has got just as many reasons to be loyal to Taker as Taker does to him. This is an amazing marriage that has lasted 30 years. How evil is Vince McMahon? I have a hard time with that when I see the way Taker appreciates and respects him.
Yeah.
And you're right. Where are all those keyboard guys to destroy Mark Calloway? Go ahead. Call him a homer. Go ahead. Call him a brown noser. Go ahead. Say you took the money all these years. By the way, I love how Taker cuts them all off at the sphincter and says, yeah, I can only work once or twice a year. Yeah, I do feel guilty that I could be taking somebody else's spot, but I know that I work hard. I put up. The seats get filled. The show goes on, and I'm the damn Ozzy Osbourne of this heavy metal scene. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I was going to get ready to watch part 2, but the Pharaoh had to take a nap for the show. Power nap!
Taker
More like an unconscious nap, but that's a whole other story.
Taker was not on my Mount Rushmore of wrestlers.
He wasn't?
No, he was not.
Wow. Why is that? Because Hogan, Flair, The Rock, and Austin are just so...
But no, I'm going to tell you what.
Certain eras.
I'm going to tell you what, though.
He's the consistent
face. Now he's officially on my Mount Rushmore.
He's the consistent
face. Once I see the one thing I got right. One thing, Mick Foley, Undertaker. What they're both like with each other.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure that when you spent your $100 for your seat or your $200,
back in those days,
right?
Yeah.
They gave you everything they had.
How about this little nugget? And I wasn't aware of this. I don't know how this never came out, or maybe it has, and I didn't catch it. The Undertaker went into the Hell in the Cell match. With Foley with a broken foot.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And then he dropped from the cage and landed on those 2 feet, one of them broken.
How about
what?
Hey, here's a telling statement.
Yeah, wrestling's fake.
Here's
a
telling statement. Scott Hall's been in studio.
Yeah.
His quote. He was watching one match with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Behind the curtain.
Yeah.
He watched the match and said, I got no problem with that guy making more money than me.
Funny how
and for Scott Hall to say that,
it's funny how it always goes to the wallet with Scott, though. Oh, that guy deserves to make more than me.
Who
It's pretty funny.
That?
I don't know.
That was terrible.
Hey, boo-boo. I don't know. I wasn't even trying to freaking imitate him.
So anyway, I have to. Again, I have to say, like, you know, if you're gonna say things, stay consistent.
Right.
Because if you hate Vince McMahon, then you better as well hate The Undertaker.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Period.
Right.
End of
No, I don't have to. He's a wrestler and a character, and I'm into the character. I don't have to. Vince is mean. I can't anymore. Whatever,
well, with that,
man.
we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Picture's more complicated than you think.
Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte the Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma. All right, bro.
Yeah.
After seeing viewership bounce back a week ago, Raw is going in the wrong direction again, averaging 1.75 million viewers Monday. That was the lowest rating in Raw history that came 1 week after a Raw lowest ever non-holiday rating.
Ew.
Pharaoh.
Yeah.
All right, the program rebounded on May 11th with 1.9 million viewers as Becky Lynch announced her pregnancy. So proving, I think we talked, that Becky probably still has the goods.
Yeah,
right?
well, if she's adding 250,000, quarter of a million plus view, yeah, okay.
Here's the deal, Pharaoh. How do you fix wrestling?
What
would the Pharaoh
the way
do?
it is right now? Are we doing it under current COVID-19 television restrictions?
Sure, why not?
Well, here's one thing I would do. Can we stop having them jump on the turnbuckle and do their poses in front of no one? Can we stop that? That does not work right now. It works when there's 20, 40, 60,000 people and you can do your thing and get a response.
Does it work in AEW?
No.
With their wrestlers around?
No. We need right now fast pace. Fast. There's no audience. So I would go with fast pace. I don't like the posing to the crowd. There is no crowd, so get rid of that. Promos got to count more so than ever. You got to be interesting. Why can't they be interesting? And I hate the gray matter. There's way too much gray matter. The 50-50 booking was already torture to us as traditional wrestling fans when the crowd was there. Now we've got gray booking with even less of a response because there's no crowd. It's just change your writing, sharpen it up, fast, make the pace faster. You got to go a little more old school. I still think AEW is translating a little bit better, but that's because I get to hear Jericho a lot.
So I personally think that they should just totally bring back the squash match, right?
They seem to be starting that.
I mean, listen, I got to be honest with you. With AEW, every time Marco stunts in a match and he's getting his ass kicked, it's great to watch.
Is it?
I love it.
Okay.
And, look, back in the day when we watched Midnight Wrestling, right?
Yeah.
The bad guys would squash these jobbers.
Yeah, but Frankie Williams was 230 pounds. Marco's 30.
Well, regardless, I guess the point is that you have these squash matches. And, look, if maybe today's generation doesn't want to follow our generation, have one main event match that has interest.
Okay.
But put over the other talent until you have a live crowd again, at least.
Right.
Look, man, I think that you have to have the scrub match and then can the interviews. Stop with the live interviews in the ring. Have a can interview with Gene, like the Gene Okerlund interview.
Right.
Right?
They don't have a Gene Okerlund.
And only have your real stars doing those type of interviews.
Right.
And just have your guys that you want to build because you think there's a future.
Right.
Have those squash matches.
How about less pay-per-views? How about making it count a little bit more when you have a pay-per-view? It allows you more time to develop your storylines. At least AEW's got that. I'll give them that. And I don't go out handing out compliments to AEW, but I do prefer the fact that the pay-per-views, there's ample time to build up a feud.
So then it's funny. So you bring that up. You going to be buying a pay-per-view this weekend?
Of course not. Because I don't give a flying fuck about certain aspects of the company. I'm talking about, now would I have done it for Vince? If he built it up correctly? Yeah, probably. I was raised on Vince. Was I raised on AEW? No. What am I running to? Orange Cassidy? Marco's stunted growth, according to Jim Cornette? That was his line. Get mad at him. Yeah, fuck it. He'll tell you to fuck off anyway. Good for you, Jim. No, seriously, though. I mean,
oh, my God.
I don't know. This got to be, by the way, that's the best way to build it up. Would you buy it? Fuck no. Whatever. Hey, you asked for my opinion. This is it. But don't forget, opinions are just like assholes.
All right,
What are you going to do to fix wrestling, smarty pants?
Like I said, I would have the squash
Everybody
matches,
should wear
right?
a red fedora.
Would wear. I'll tell you, here's another. So, AEW, when they have these beat-up matches, look,
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you what.
I like them.
Karrion Kross. Fall and pray, brother.
Yeah.
That
awesome.
match on Wednesday.
Oh, that was great.
Him destroying
The
that
beating.
guy.
That was meant.
How friggin' You don't need a competitive match.
Right.
And kudos to whoever the guy, the enhancement talent guy. That guy took a beating
At
like
least
a man.
he was Angelo Gomez size.
Yeah, but
he wasn't Marco Stunt.
But he took a beating.
He should. That was perfect. Karrion Kross. How you feel about that name?
I don't mind it. It's
You
okay.
don't mind it? Where's Killer? Why couldn't they get Killer Cross? What, TNA? Can't
What's
have
wrong
this.
with Karrion Kross, dude? And the
I guess
promos,
Karrion
him and what's the girl's name? Scarlett?
Yeah, I know you like her.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I did object, though. I told you earlier today that I wish Ciampa wouldn't right away be the first guy he fights. They should be building up to those two
dude,
monsters.
we were talking about that today. I think it's great. You're going to go in that pay-per-view. There'll
Seems
be a
kinda
double
quick.
disqualification.
You really think they'll do that?
Absolutely. There can't be a clear-cut winner
He
in that
gets
match.
a pinfall over Ciampa. I don't see
It's
how
not
this is.
But they're saying it can't happen like that.
Okay.
Have a nice fallout brawl and just
right.
continue on and go your own separate ways, right?
Okay. All
But
right.
I got to tell you something.
Well, he's beelining for
That-
the NXT title, that guy.
Dude,
He's a...
at this point, does it matter if you're in Raw, SmackDown, or NXT, in your opinion?
That's another thing that bothers me. I'm not so sure. And let me ask you this, okay, the women's wrestling's here. It's here. What was the main event on NXT this week? What was it? It was Rhea Ripley versus Lo Shirai or something like that?
Yeah,
I
right,
don't care. This is the main event. I don't care. And no, it's not a sexist comment.
Yeah, but bro, I got to be honest. I got to be honest with you.
Give me something.
The WWE certainly feels that Charlotte is the one to carry the load now. She's
guess
on
so.
every show,
I guess
SmackDown,
so.
Raw, NXT.
I don't mind that they chose Charlotte to get a lot of limelight. That
Not
makes
the
sense,
woman.
but-
I'm talking about she is the face of the company.
Well, there's another problem. When you have no Macho Mans and you have no Roddy Pipers and you have no Hulk Hogans and you have no Mick Foleys or Takers or whatever, I guess that's a problem. To me, it's a problem.
Well, that's the other problem that I would fix wrestling with. So watching a bunch of Piper Pits, right? I was telling you.
Mm-hmm.
When the whole thing went down with Cyndi Lauper,
Yeah.
right? When she fights him or attacks Albano and they pull her off, the show ended.
Right.
You wanted to
tune in,
watch
right
next week.
Right.
When Stone Cold and Tyson had their fight and McMahon's doing
they
that
went off
thing.
the air? That
They
was
went off
insane.
the air. You couldn't wait till Monday to come
I told
again.
you how disappointed I am with the WWE, the way they've handled SmackDown on Fox. Every week it's a Baron Corbin ending with nothing that makes me want to tune in the next week. How could you make Baron Corbin the center and focus of every closing SmackDown? That's terrible. That is terrible. I don't want to tune in the next week, and that's why these numbers are going down.
My whole point, I think you just go a little more old school, have a couple of cliffhangers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Look, the wrestling fan's enduring a lot, too, during this. And so is the wrestler, right?
Sure.
They got to kind of do this skidded comic book stuff now. And,
Right.
And we're saying, oh, it's okay. Except for the wrestling experts who get angry over it.
Okay.
I mean, look, you really can't do anything different now.
Mhm.
The only thing, if you want to be a pure wrestling deal, then you have to just have squash matches
Mhm.
the whole time through. Have one main event with two top guys, they fight, and just wait for the crowds to come back.
Right.
Because
But we've always said that we need more definitively clear-cut who's good, who's not.
That's right.
Enough gray area. There's too much gray area. Whether it's Dolph Ziggler, whether it's Bobby Roode, whether it's guys that they flirt with like an Apollo Crews going up and down between scrub or I might be good someday. Stop! What are you? I want to know what I'm looking at. I want to get a feel for the product. I mean, when you look at the major leagues every year, you know the Yankees are good and the other there's three teams at the bottom that suck shit. Doesn't stop you from watching it or loving it, but it certainly doesn't confuse you. I'll tell you that.
great
WWE booking does nothing but confuse you, and so does AEW. They do the same shit.
Great point.
And stop already with the retreads. Oh, here's the reason. Since we're on it now, here's the reason why I'm not going to buy the damn pay-per-view on Sunday. I got Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper in the main event. Oh, we're new, we're original, we're cutting edge. You're WWE retreads. You're retreads. And I'm going to freaking go running to the set for that. It doesn't mean that I don't like either wrestler or they don't kick ass or they're not good. It doesn't interest me. What's the payoff? I'd much rather see Killer Cross go for the NXT title. That's right, Karrion Kross or whatever his name is. He's interesting to me.
Well, with that, episode 3 is in the books, my friend. Wonderful show. Great job
Thank
today.
you, sir.
It
Thank
was
you. It was nice
fantastic.
just having me and you here to banter what we do best, and that's talk about pro wrestling.
Not too bad.
That
And
was
I want to
awesome.
thank Indie Music TV, a fine station who's producing our show. These microphones.
Hey.
The setup.
Thank you, guys. You guys really have your shit together.
They
I
really do.
appreciate
We
that.
really do
Really
appreciate it. Anyway, Monte the Pharaoh can be seen on YouTube, Facebook Live on the Monte and the Pharaoh homepage, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Channel 115 every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9 p.m. and again for the early risers on Saturday from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m.
That's him.
Next week we have Hall of Famer WWE Tony, Mr. USA Atlas, or maybe we'll call him Saba Simba.
No, you call him that. I hate that.
Anyway,
Is he going to bring the big Saba Simba stick again?
I got to ask him.
Oy, no, don't.
Anyway, we've been watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. This is Mike Monte.
This is the Pharaoh. Until next week with Mr. USA. Later.